It's Alicia, Nora, and Macy on our little green couch.
Ready to talk weekly gossip from behind the chair.
Have a drink or 10 and get ready for the journey.
Join us on the floor with little Fern. We're here.
Hi, welcome in.
The salon's a little chaotic right now. There's a lot of food everywhere.
A lot of yummy looking food.
It really looks like a Last Supper feast. It's giving Thanksgiving meal, like Thanksgiving prep.
Definitely.
All the staples are here.
They really are.
The tater tots.
Let me set the scene. And we've got some glistening cauliflower wings. They are delicious. I eat one by myself. It's amazing.
Is that a loaded tater tot? Is that what?
Yeah, a loaded tater tot.
Okay.
So it has like bacon, chicken, and then all the other good like yummy jizz on it.
I think that they call it like
Don't
trailer
call it
park
jizz.
casserole.
It's a fun word.
And then we have some wraps.
And some bevies, of course,
Mhm.
which I'm drinking a rosé tonight.
I think all the ladies are drinking rosé,
We're on the rose.
and our beloved guest is not.
Our guest looks like they're drinking, from my angle, a mimosa, just because of the color of it. It looks like some champagne and OJ, but it's not.
But anyways, cheers. Come on in.
Cheers.
Hopefully your week has been good. It is hot. It is
Like a wall.
it's like a sauna.
I went outside and I came back in, and the way that I described it was I feel as though I'm being wrapped in a blanket. Like it's like that sort of heat that it's just like encompasses your entire body.
But a blanket that was dipped in water first, put in the microwave, and then smothers your face.
It's like grody. It's a little too moist outside too.
I was putting extra hairspray on everybody today. I was just loading them up because I knew it the second that they walked out.
I immediately had a bad hair day today, so I just threw that thing up in a clip.
There's one of those hair days where no matter what you try to do, it's not going to do what you think it's going to do at all. We're under like a heat advisory, and we're supposed to get thunderstorms tonight, which I was like, is that going to make it better? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
They said that we have polluted air right now, which I'm like, that's yum. Like, thanks for that alert.
There was actually a high air alert on the day we did our wellness retreat this weekend. And I was like, cool, boiling hot. And what do they call that? Air pollution.
Essentially, shit that's bad for your lungs.
Well, I mean, nothing screams Chicago summer like a little air pollution and heat advisory.
Or the fact that it was like 60 degrees, for the past 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden it's like 95, 100 again.
Tongue. It was not 2 weeks. It was like 3 days.
Oh, it was. It was like 2 weeks of like 70s and 60s, which was amazing.
No.
Your timeline is moving very
Well, maybe my timeline in my head is moving a lot slower, but
I think your timeline is
I
wrong.
also think that I'm like so mentally prepared for spooky season that like I just anytime that it's a bit of a breeze, I'm like, ooh, it's cold outside.
Get your sweaters on.
That's exactly
Like I've been like, religiously like leaving the house in like sweatpants and a sweatshirt. I'm like, bro, it's literally like 90 degrees outside. I'm ready.
Me and Nora went to a wellness retreat this last weekend.
We did. We had two different experiences, I think.
Oh yeah, I heard the way that you
Yes.
described it versus the way that Alicia described it, and they're polar fucking
Yeah.
opposite.
Yeah.
They are. And if Brittany were here, she would probably give us a third.
Oh, that would we'll type it in.
Yeah, it was a third. It was yeah. I couldn't fill out how I felt about it. Like they gave you this long piece of paper at the very end.
It sounds like Snowball. We're like,
Read us. Yeah.
No.
Like, what we could do better, what you loved. And it was like it gave you like rooms for paragraphs after each question.
I filled in the paragraphs.
And I knew that Nora was going to give like
I
a
love
500-word answer for every single thing. And all I could give was no answer.
I did.
One-worded answers.
I did give some constructive criticism.
ooh, give us
I did
some.
not hold back.
There could have been a lot less sound baths.
I did not feel that way. I thought there could have been a little less inside time.
Nora's like, let's go out in the pollution.
I just want to fucking lay and sleep is what I want. Like, I want an excuse to not have to do something. Like, I want to just be zoned out, and that's what that.
I enjoy that, but I think that like the way it could have been done could have been different. Like what about like those saltwater things, those like baths? Add that as one of them. But it felt like it felt like they were filling time, so we just did the same thing
Oh
all
no.
the time.
Well, she
No.
did a sound bath for an hour at the beginning, a middle for another hour, at the end for another hour. And for me, that sounds like a whole lot of like you said, it was like kind of torture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like 3 hours of just like straight sound bath, like what you're laying there and listening to like a sound.
You are supposed to be they give you intentions to meditate while you're doing that. Here's the
It shows
thing.
the difference in character.
No,
You
it's
know, like
not.
that's not your jam.
It's
like,
a
that's
different
so
than
your jam.
experience because I am used to experiencing that with doing Reiki, Qigong, and meditation. And there's a lot of I was not okay with the sound at first. Those ding, they're called tuning forks. And I'm like, Alice, if you do a tuning fork around my head again, we're done.
First of all, my one ear goes crazy. Like on the one,
just go,
it was like, I'm gonna take that thing and throw it into the fucking other side of this.
Wait, so they would like come around your head and literally like ding the fork?
They were
I think you could like shit one more fucking
coming
time.
above our bodies and walking around.
Yeah.
It was if you don't understand what it's for,
I just never
then
gone
you
to a
can't
wellness
dive into like
you can't
feel.
receive it.
Yeah,
And I then am
I
like,
was receiving it.
no, thank you. This is like the difference between when we had the medium come in and be if you're open to the thing or if you're not.
Yeah, that shows the difference.
And I clearly took it as nap time.
Both of
Alicia was
those.
in preschool nap time.
She was, and I don't know
That's
why this
funny.
bitch is pretending like she wasn't okay with that. It's
I
the
took a
thing.
nap, but I said, but when you're in third hour of nap time, Alicia's going to be snoring.
That's
Like,
fine.
Or sleep snoring.
That's
that is
healing.
fine.
You know what? You were like releasing all that bad energy. Like,
So
I did mentally prepare you guys. I said multiple times, we're going to be doing something very different than we're used to doing.
I said I didn't hate it. Would I do it again? Probably not.
I actually have an appointment with Sonja next week.
who's Sonja?
She was the Kundalini yoga lady.
What does
I really
Kundalini
liked
yoga
her.
mean?
It's a very focused meditate. Alicia and I cannot even get into what we were doing during that.
No, I can't even talk about it. It was like,
Were you like moaning? Were you like,
yeah,
No, it was
we were fucking a pillow.
wait, what?
I was not sitting on the pillow, so I was not grinding on anything. I was just rotating my spine like she asked us to.
Yeah.
When I picture a wellness retreat, like I want to do like a fucking ropes course or something, not on the pillow. Like I want to do like summer camp, like type of
I
wellness retreat.
sent the itinerary, okay? We all could have researched.
I loved the intention setting of the first half. And I told him
I
all
did
about it.
love that.
I busted out the paper. I showed him. I said, we should do it at home. I thought it was great. I will 100% be reusing that. And I think we should use it here.
Yes, we will do that here at some point. I loved that.
That portion was great.
Yeah.
That's my favorite
We
part.
should maybe do it for New Year's or something.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I thought it was fabulous.
Oh, what about the couples Pilates class?
That's coming up.
We said, did you guys, because Luke is here today with us
He's in our
as our
presence.
guest.
The one, the only, the elusive.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. I can't wait to talk about whatever the fuck we're going to talk about.
So-
Wait, before we keep going, it's called a deprivation tank.
Yes.
That's the word you were looking for. It's called adventure camp. That's the thing you were looking for.
I love that he just like kept all of
That-
it.
when you were talking about like the weather,
Uh-huh.
like the heat, not the cool coming. I think meteorologists say it's like air you can wear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's the dew point, not the humidity.
That's all, folks. Luke's done for the night. Wrap it up.
And he's really trying to like assert his dominance right now and like show his intelligence level over us.
No, he is a weather guy. I know that.
Aaron,
Well, it's also giving Bill.
don't you fucking dare.
He's
You
obsessed
guys-
with weather.
You guys both do it.
They
And
both do
PJ
They both.
gets up in on it.
I feel like you guys just get really riled up about
Yeah.
the weather.
They all three
They
just
just
be
get
like
angry about the weather.
weather chasers.
We like to be prepared.
Very dad of you.
This is what it's like living with Luke. He will correct you in like a gentle parenting way.
Most important factor. Only when you're wrong, not correcting you when you're right. Just
I mean, sometimes.
like thinking out.
Like personally, I think sometimes. Like,
Well, again, you're wrong. So There you go. You've been
Like sometimes you just don't need to like admit that you're wrong.
Macy just likes to live in her land.
I like to live in my little Delulu land. I'm like,
Speaking of Macy's land,
oh God,
it's getting broader.
broader. Yes, it is.
You have something to report.
I have officially signed a lease, guys. I feel like I don't know if last week because I wasn't yapping about it
Not
last
talking
week.
about this. This is where your timeline is clouded because it's been a week of concentrated Macy land.
Yeah.
It all happened very quickly.
Yeah, I was having a lot of stuff going on, and I feel like I literally, because it's funny that you say that because I signed my lease for this place, and then I did one before, and the place just ended up not working out, and I was like, oh my God, that must have been like 2 weeks ago. It was literally like 6 days before, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Timeline is moving very slow for me, especially now because I have a looming like move-in date over my head. So like I've been finding myself waking up at like 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning. I'm not a person that does that at all, but the stress is getting to me. So I'm excited, but it's stressful.
Fun fact, when me and Luke met, he went from he was in between being a city boy to a suburb boy back to a city boy.
Yeah.
Uh,
I thought you were going to say I was a smoker for some reason.
yeah, you were also
For
that.
some reason, I thought that's where that was going.
Are we talking about like weed smoker or like cig smoker? Like because didn't you say you used to smoke like a pack a day? That was, yeah.
About smoking cigarettes at the Ridgewood.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm pulling from the mem about you smoking a pack a day.
Yeah, maybe that's why I thought that's where we were going. But
I blocked that part out of my memory bank. It said you were a cigarette smoker. I think because it was a quality, like, a trait of a guy that I was not into when dating. So if they were smokers, I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Next.
You just turned such a hardcore blind eye to it.
to your point, that was like a city thing, right? Like all the city cool kids smoked. So when I was in the city, it was just part of being awesome.
It's part of it.
Part of being rad.
Part of it.
If smoking was good for you, I would definitely still do it.
Yeah.
It was so enjoyable. Yeah.
It was very enjoyable. I dabbled.
Enjoyable, but I also have the asthma.
But we also had,
she got the
remember,
A's.
I think you and I talked about like the Marlboro versus like Camel Wars, where like
Oh.
different guys would come into the bars at night with duffel
Yes.
bags full of cigarettes, and they would
And
stand you right
stickers
there,
and yeah.
and then they would hand you a stack
Yes.
of a pack.
Oh,
of
it wasn't
cigarettes.
like one. Yeah.
No.
It was like,
Yeah.
how many can
A
you take
5-pack.
home?
You want-
In
Yeah.
clear wrapping.
That is how I moved from Camel Whites to
That was a crush.
Camel Crushes.
Yeah, the crush. Those were amazing.
I was Marlboro Menthol 72s. They were like this big and they packed a little punch. And then I could smoke them real quick. In
That's
the car.
that's why the Crushes were so good, because
Well-
it could be a regular cigarette or you just like pop the little mint ball. And
But I couldn't do Camels or anything light. It had to be menthols.
What are the tiny little long ones?
Virginia
The-
Slims.
yeah.
I
Those
love
were
them.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
They just taste like straight up nicotine. Not nicotine. What's this? Tobacco. It tastes like tobacco. And I like even the 100s.
Yeah, it's like smoking a pipe.
My friend used to smoke Marlboro Lights 100s.
Oh,
What is that?
It's like the light version of a cigarette in a long version.
It's like shapes.
I
of
don't
your
get
name.
that, but okay.
This is what they're getting you with, because it's all just tobacco wrapped in a piece of paper with a filter.
And the fat
all-
ones are the same
and
as
like
the long ones.
shitty shredded tobacco. Like, so all they can do is package it differently to get us to like it.
Ooh.
Right? So, like the shape,
Hand it to us at bars.
shape is really all that's changed. And
When was like the prime time for this stuff? Like how old were you
early
guys?
2000s.
Yeah.
yeah.
Late.
Like how old were you guys?
Well, we were going to bar age, so I would say like
Yeah.
19 through like
It's just so funny how different it is.
Oh, for that experience?
Yeah.
The cigarette thing? Yeah. I mean, 19 and older.
yeah.
But that was the age to get into a lot of bars, 19.
My best friend and I would go to River Oaks Mall all the time to go shopping on like Friday nights, and we'd have a parent drop us off because we were in 8th grade. And she was like my bad friend, and her sister worked at the movie theater there. And so we'd always just be trolling around. And she made me ask a guy in the parking lot if I could buy a pack of cigarettes off of him because he was selling them out of his trunk, which was also very common back then.
Was it?
And so I walked up and said, "Can I spot a square?"
Square. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like
and
when
he sold me a pack of Newports.
is the cig itself called a square or like is it the box?
No, it's the cigarette.
Yeah.
It's the square.
Like that's what you said to people if you wanted to bump
Can you
smoke.
bum up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bum one.
Spot a square. Spot a square.
What was the brand? You smoked Newports, but what was the brand that like everyone in your circle? Because everyone smoked, by the way. This isn't like
We smoked
we
Marlboro.
just happened to be smokers.
It was
everyone.
Rachel smoked Marlboro Reds.
Oh,
Are those ones like really gross?
I can remember people by
Like the cowboy. What do they call them? Cowboy kickers or something? I don't know.
I also think it depended on what your parents smoked, so that's what you
Yeah.
took, and then that's what you like.
My dad will deny it to this day that this never happened, but I have very clear memories of being given a written hand note to go up to Keene, or maybe it wasn't Keene, maybe it was like something else, like a little whatever gas station thing, and it would be to get his Camels. And he'll deny it. It's like that never happened.
My mom said that like the things that her parents would do a lot is the same thing. Like they'd send her with it's like a written doctor's note parent. Like that's
Yeah.
like obviously that would never fucking fly now. But she's like, oh yeah, they'd send me all the time. And as long as there was a written parent's note and I had the enough amount of money, like they'd send her on her way with a nice pack of cigs.
Maybe get like milk and a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, my
That's crazy.
dad and my stepmom did the Marlboro points. Like they had the
Yes. The tear off baskets.
Wait,
Yeah,
you know
what?
what's crazy about that story? I just told it, just realized that was at my first house as a kid. And I moved out of that house when I was 6. So I was like a child.
Were you like a royally walking thing? They're like letting a toddler.
Also,
Like,
the fact that
just
you were
realizing.
like trusted with the going and doing that yourself is
That seems normal.
but the hyper independence that your guys' generation experience is like
Also,
so.
that's giving last child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the,
I was
like,
thinking
the
the same
Lambert
thing.
household.
Well, yeah, the
Give it
youngest child was always the one that they're just like, oh fuck,
Don't
fuck
get
off and have a good time. Bye bye. Be back before the lights turn.
The good thing is like child molesters hate like young white little blonde boys.
Do they really?
No, that's like ideal.
Do they?
Do they?
It's like,
What the fuck am I supposed to?
Yeah,
Amber.
I think my dad got some pretty sweet stuff from his like collection of
They did.
like
My
Big
parents
day.
didn't because they bought the off-brand GPCs because they were on sale. So there was no point system.
households who drank RC cola instead of like
I loved
plain
RC.
see,
Wildwood.
RC growing up. RC was slay.
best pizza place on the south side. Shout out to Milano's, where you can still get a 2-liter of RC with your.
Whenever you go to Lions Club always had RC at like the concession stand, and so
Yeah.
like, dude, I'd be fucking that shit up.
And I
I'm like,
always thought Diet Right
Oh yeah.
Cola was
Yeah.
Diet RC, but
Yeah.
obviously it's not. So
Their
that's what we had in my house.
their Diet Right cream soda was the best.
Do they still make Diet Right?
when were you guys all
We were
like, big
Pepsi families.
smokers? Like,
Every one
were
of
you a
my
big
friends
smoker?
smoking.
Were you?
I was
You
a
guys just did
party.
it for like your
Oh.
drunk and you bought the seg.
I smoked a pack a day.
I would smoke in my car
funny.
on the way home and to my boyfriend's house, and then I would smoke on the balcony at parties. Like
I would
nonstop.
have to get really, 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 really drunk, and then it would be like at the very end of the night, and like my friends would have a cigarette, and then I would take like a hit, and then I would be choke dying, and then I'd be like, "That was fun, we'll do it again," and then I'd be really high from nicotine because I'd never do it.
I
so
love
like
it.
that was me.
The nicotine buzzes.
Everyone
Right.
smoked Parliaments, P-Funks.
Rose.
Again,
Of course
the
they
shape
fucking did.
outside. They love the shape because the filter has like a little indent, so you got like an extra ring of paper. That was why I'm positive that's why people like just the shapes.
Well, my generation, they like a good old Mr.
I love
Fog.
Yeah, I saw you guys like have okay. So with Macy's generation now, it's all the vapes.
It's all like e-cigs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought
and
you guys were coming back around with smoking. Am I making that up?
no,
When?
Just in general, like the generation.
Oh, I mean, like, yeah, like, I think that it's like a drunk sig thing unless there's like a person here and there. But I actually don't know anybody in my life that like is like a hardcore like sig smoker.
no, but you guys hit those like
Oh, I love it.
things really
great.
intensely. Just I would say probably more intensely than if you had a pack of
Well,
cigarettes.
yeah, because then it's also like the convenience of it,
Mhm.
where it's very different. Where like when you're smoking a cig, like, you have to go outside and then you come back in. Like for us, like we just like I'm just like sitting at the table and I just like hit it and then like yeah,
JE,
it was like the first thing that overtook
oh my
HF.
God.
Really?
Yeah, we made them.
So yeah, so
I'll deny that though.
they let's not
FCC for listening. I did. That.
yes. But no, actually though, like it was a huge thing. That's how it all got started was in high school. The and
You're welcome.
tasted disgusting. Like vapes have tremendously improved. Like it's like the way that alcohol is improved over like, like time. Like alcohol, there's so many more choices and there's so much more to do. Like there's a lot more choices. There's Pasha's, there's like Mr. Fogg's. Oh my God, I love a Mr. Fogg. Those things taste amazing.
I have no idea.
Until they were all busting them.
Isn't that what PJ?
Friday night.
Yeah.
PJ,
Yes.
Like,
No, he has.
like a little brick.
Yes.
So the one
Yeah.
that Brooke had, the one like she had like the red one, or what? Maybe that was Mary.
Michelle.
That was Mary. And that's the Mr. Fogg one. You can adjust like the levels on it, where like you can adjust how much like nicotine you're getting, whether you're getting a little bit of air in it, or if you're just getting straight fucking nicotine. And
It was Michelle who had the Mr. Fogg, but with Jessica, they all brought them out, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah.
That one that was sitting in our house, though, wasn't that PJ's?
That was PJ's.
That
Yeah.
was Mr.
what
Fogg.
was that? Was a good one. Was that after the wedding?
That was at the wedding.
Because I think I brought it to your guys' place, but then I left it there. Something like
I
that.
took one hit of that thinking that it wasn't a nicotine vape,
Nope.
and it was
It is-
the worst experience of my life.
Oh,
It was absolutely horrendous.
That
It was
happened to
like
me on the
breathing
tube trip.
in. It was like breathing in straight ice.
Oh, it's great.
I
I mean,
it's
like,
great.
it depends on the flavor. That flavor wasn't very good. That was also a Posh. Poshes are like number
like
5
lime
on
cherry.
the list.
oh.
Mr. Fogg is at the top. Mr. Fogg is great, but they also have like they have the Mr. Fogg like kind of like sticks, or they have like the like bricks, which is the one that like can be adjusted. And those ones like light up, and on the side they tell you how much percentage and juice is left.
Are they like this big? Round
Yeah, they're this big, and then
or
they have like a little nozzle at the top.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
All of this
I see
to
it on the-
say
Oh,
that
yeah.
we are not supporting nicotine consumption.
Personally,
I disagree. I'm
I'm not a huge nicotine person unless like I'm drunk. As soon as like a lick of alcohol hits my lips, like I am immediately like fiending for some nicotine just because it's like gives a nice little buzz. But like I wake up the next morning and I'm fine. I could literally never hit it again until I'm drunk. And then I'm like,
shit.
I need
I
that
smoke
shit.
cigars.
I love it. So
That's
good.
nicotine.
Also, just like the little highs, especially because I don't hit it all the time. Like the buzz that I get from it is amazing. But like my friends, they're just addicted to it. They don't actually get like a buzz from it. It just keeps them from having horrible withdrawal symptoms.
I'm so
Yeah,
glad that
that
that is something
sounds
I do not experience.
Are just cigs withdrawal symptoms a thing? Smoking cigs versus a vape, those are like slightly different.
That's
Nicotine is.
it's highly addicting,
Yeah.
but nobody listens anymore. I think this just really spiraled because it's giving us a glimpse into what Luke has to talk his clients into every day with all of this information and like all of this talk about different brands. And I think everybody should put a guess into what we think Luke does for a living based on how Alicia describes it to them.
Based on the way that it's described to me, I think that I don't actually know, like, you're just a pitcher. Like, I know you pitch shit. He pitches shit, and you work a lot, and you travel a lot, and sometimes you're on podcasts.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a great.
I think most importantly, what does
have
my
done-
wife think I do?
You have done an amazing job. Case closed.
Yeah. Like, because I feel like that's like the number of things that we talk about is that he travels a lot. He does like stuff for media. Like you always say that he's in media.
What I loved about Macy, he didn't hit once in the first like go around at all about like a job. It was-
leisure time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Then maybe I don't know much.
Okay.
I feel like I probably should know it more, but I actually
No,
don't know
it's
exactly
okay.
what you do. I just know that you work in media and like you work with like you're very fucking high up. You're like a below the VP or something kind of a vibe.
They're below me.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, crazy shit. Tell us what you actually do.
Yeah. Okay. So context of what working in media means is probably important before I even tell you what I personally do. So when you think of like the Mad Men era, that is creative agencies today. At the time, they did everything. And at one point in like the late 90s, a guy figured out that clients would pay you to also do the media part of it, which is like the buying and selling of the space itself. Like Billy Crystal is a salesperson of radio media in City Slickers. I sell air, right? So that's the world I operate in. Creative agencies still obviously exist and do all like the thing you see and think is the advertising. That's not what I do.
Mhm.
I do the thing that makes sure that you're the one seeing it and that you're seeing it in the right places, spaces, right time, right message.
You're like the
all
director.
of that. Well, that's what my side of the world is. So I'm at a media agency. Now, I personally at this media agency have done a few different jobs. And now I'm lucky to be in a role that lets me kind of not individually contribute because I still have a lot of people I work with day to day, but I'm a bit unleashed from where I was working before and overseeing an entire division of the company that was like 1,800 people. So it's nice to have the role I'm in now, which, yes, my boss is my CEO.
What's your official title?
Chief Innovation and Product Officer for OMD USA.
That's like a really good title. Like, you know, some people have a title and you're like, oh, that is a nice title. It's like getting really bougie.
He helped me come up with your title, Macy.
I know.
Remember.
And I can give big thanks and credit to Luke for that one because it's a good title.
You're welcome. It's a title that like elevates you early. And as far as any like recruiter would possibly know, they don't know. So you'd be surprised at how little recruiters know about what they're recruiting for.
Mhm.
Maybe you wouldn't be, but where are you guys? So they're getting up and leaving. So I guess I'm hosting, but I wanted to
This happens
kind of
sometimes.
figure out, do you know enough about my job yet?
I think like you could describe it more.
Okay.
Like, what does like a day in your life look
Yeah.
like?
Well, I mean, if I work at a media agency and that is my title, it really doesn't tell you what I do all day. You mentioned I pitch. I pitch a lot, and pitching is awesome and exhausting and the hardest thing in the world and the most rewarding part of what I do. Outside of hosting my own podcast, by the way. But
You have
that's
your
for
own
another time.
podcast.
That's for another time.
So when is he gonna have us on, guys?
Never. We don't live in the space where he would ever need to talk to us about anything.
I just had on Google's head of AI. Drop that one yet? We're dropping my one with Spotify's creative leadership.
That's
I don't
awesome.
think tonight. But what do I do all day besides host that podcast? Like the pitch part of it. That is literally like trying to find the right relationship with a client and make sure that client like sees all of your capability as an agency and you as people. I would say 51% of the hiring from a possible client is the people, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
But like because the thing we do is, again, it's buying media. It was an offshoot, a thing that you can just like charge clients for at one point, but it's gotten so technically different that none of the clients look at it as either they don't really believe in media or they're all in on media and they know it's more important than anything, because when the science comes to it, we've done a ton of studies on attention. The proof is in the pudding. We know that where you show up and who you're in front of is more important than the creative itself. So I pitch, and then I also lead clients today, like client work itself, managing that team through the marketplace. It's not a huge part of my job, but I do it. And then I spend plenty of time with our C-suite and senior clients who need to learn about the industry's best stuff. Yeah. So that's what I do. So if you ever see an ad for something, that's what I do. I put it in front of you. If you get freaked out and creeped out by stuff following you around the internet or hearing you say
That's
something,
what you do.
that's what I do.
What was that movie with our cute little guy from Santa Clarita Diet where he does the whole,
Timothy,
it's like an informative movie about everything Luke is talking about. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's what Luke does. He's that thing that they're talking about AI in the movie, what AI does and how it connects to what like it's listening to.
Holy shit. That was all of them, their entire flock hit our window.
Were they attacking a bug though? Because I did see something fall to the ground.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Are all the birds alive
I
after
felt
that?
very Alfred Hitchcockian. Why did so many birds just hit our
I mean,
window?
that was probably about 6 or 7 birds that just hit our window.
I think 4.
We can also
Storm
look
coming.
at the window where you can see like the
Yeah.
little body prints.
See, you can see the wings.
Yeah.
No. There's like a chance of me.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It feels like the cicadas, but like way more aggressive.
Somebody
Yeah,
really
I'm
sounds
surprised.
like drop something over there because they're really going to town.
And then somebody got into a fight over it.
That was
That's that's a lot of birds. It's a little
Well, there maybe there was a different type of bird that they were chasing off, like blue jays. These birds will like attack blue jays and kill them.
Oh really?
Mhm.
that's like
I didn't see a blue jay.
so wild.
That's murder.
Infant.
They're murderers.
Well,
Blue jays are murderers, just to be clear.
I'm pretty positive I get like 0.2% of that correct when telling my guests. I've not like
I think you do a
I've
good
done a really good job.
especially
I've
as
gotten
somebody
much
that's
better.
not doing it.
I've gotten much better in years coming.
It's also just easier to fucking skip. Why the fuck do you need to know exactly what he does?
Secondly, that was 20-minute pitch of what Luke does for a living.
Yeah.
I don't have 20 minutes
No.
to dedicate on what my husband does for a living. I have to elevator pitch.
Could even be able to fully explain that after he just regurgitated that to us.
And I only gave you like 10%.
He's
Exactly.
been regurgitating that to me for years.
And that stuff that's like, it's just clearly like one of those things, like when you don't work in the field, you'll never fully understand or be able to like, it's just a lot of like, I feel like your work field jargon that you're like,
And also,
okay.
he's very winded. Like, is everyone's position this winded in what they do?
Like the expanse of what they do. Yeah. I mean, anybody at my level, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's super impressive, and I'm very proud of you. But it just feels very winded. Like you can't just like be talking over a glass of wine, and then somebody asks what you do for a living. You're like, well, how much time do you have?
If it's someone who doesn't know me and they ask me what I do for a living, I 100% of the time say I work at an ad agency. That's it.
Yeah.
If I said I work at a media agency, they won't know. Actually, it happened one time. A guy got on a plane with me and he was like, "You're in my seat," but it's Southwest, so there are no seats, but like it's haha funny because it's that one seat with all the leg room. And he's like, "Oh, well, how did you get that seat? What do you do for a living?" I'm like, "I travel a lot." He's like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "I work for an ad agency." He's like, "Which one?" I'm like, "OMD." And he's like, "Oh, I work at BBDO, which is one of our sister creative agencies."
Okay.
And so he instantly knew like ad agency media, like he knew, but nobody else would ever know.
Leo Burnett, that's an ad agency.
That is a creative agency. Yes.
Okay, so I toured that my junior or senior year of high school. And that's when I was just like getting into, like I was doing graphic design at the time. And I always knew that like I as soon as I went to Leo Burnett, I was like, oh, this is I could see myself totally working here.
Yeah. If they're like the English side of the business, we're the math side.
I want to be on the English side
Yeah.
because I'm horrible at math.
Me too. I was an English major.
Were you? Com major over here. I literally got like went to school to read. That was just it. And it was like, yeah,
Pass major over here.
So let's everyone guess what me and Nora do for a living. Go around the room and pretend like you don't know what we do for a living.
you guys like play with hair all day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your job is like so fun.
That's pretty much our own things to do.
Anywho,
Question. Your tattoos. Has it ever been like an issue with your job because of how high up you are?
No, but I used to, and it was more consistently done, like dress fairly business first. Like I would wear a jacket and a button down. So you really didn't see my sleeves that much. And then I started moving into more tech side roles. And then I was able to not do that so much anymore, but I would still keep myself fairly well covered. And then at the agency is when I went from like very much slacks and button down shirt to t-shirt and jeans.
That's like your like daily like outfit now.
Yeah, I mean
It's
the
not
fact
bad.
that I'm not wearing jeans right now is very strange.
I mean, but it's still a pretty like cozy fit though. Like it's nice, like it looks great, but like it also like just looks like very like you don't have to like literally wear like a suit and tie to work every day.
Oh.
It's like phenomenal.
God, no. I don't know anyone who does anymore.
Really?
Our CEOs don't. Or-
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean it's maybe one person I know, and that's John Wren, our CEO.
I think that changed quite a long time ago for you.
Yeah, for me personally, yeah. I mean, for pitches, I almost always wore a full suit. Always, I know it. No, I always wore a suit for pitching, and I think I wore a tie on one of them even. And I think that was for like Tempur-Pedic because they're in like Kentucky, and it was like at a country club we had to pitch at. It was like, yeah, but yeah, no, I wear kind of street clothes.
So kind of pitch day now, what do you wear?
Oh, probably like this, maybe with a what do they call it, like a shirt jacket kind of thing,
Okay.
like a lightweight but heavier than a shirt thing with pockets. A lot of those in my closet. We dress for the brand though as well.
Or for what you're pitching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're pitching a brand that has like clothing or things like that, you'll definitely pitch with like whatever you're pitching on.
Vans is also owned by VF Corp, and that is our client. So
Okay.
quite literally, anytime I'm with my Vans client, I am in Vans. Like I will never show up in front of them in anything other than Vans. Levi's Global was our client, and we were pitching them. We didn't retain the business, but it happens more often than not. And everyone was head to toe Levi's. And we pitched Gap Inc. earlier this summer. Everyone would wear Gap things. You get the idea. Yes, the answer is yes. Under Armour, everyone wore Under
That's so cool. Do you
Yeah.
think that you wouldn't get the deal if you weren't wearing that brand?
100%. Especially if you showed up in a competitor. You'll either be off brand, right? So they're casual, you show up not, or vice versa. Or if you're like on the same level as them, then why the hell wouldn't you be wearing their clothing. And if you're wearing a competitor, even worse. If I wear Chucks to Vans,
You also don't know how to read a room.
what do you mean?
Like
You gotta know who that's your job to
if you're
know who
showing
pitching
out
to.
in a pitch and you are wearing something else when you're pitching a company that is a brand and they offer clothing and then you come in something else, that to me shows you that you don't know how to like
Research. I mean, it's the simple stuff, but yeah.
You have to be so like hyper vigilant of each person that you're coming into contact with, and like something like that where it's just like, oh,
That's what we do every day. You have to get to know your client. You want to get to know them because you want to serve them better.
it's
And-
the small things about taking note on like a client was talking about their grandchild the last time they were in. Take note, ask about that grandchild the next time they're in.
Not just because like you're trying to like tick off a box, but because you want to hear about it.
It's the little things. And they're gonna be like, oh, they do care. Because you do care, but you also want to remember to hit that point the next time that you see them.
It's a people business. Like I said, they get hired more than 51% of it's the people. So if you misread rooms or you honestly say something about another brand, it's not like it can be disastrous.
have you ever like gone into a pitch and like said something or like fuck, and like you think it like fucked up the whole thing, or like no?
Probably every pitch. I'm serious. No, probably every pitch. There's something that I do or say that to me feels like that was a mistake. But I'm often told that no one notices your thing because they don't.
Probably a lot more hard on yourself.
Well, they also don't know what you're supposed to be saying or what you like. It's just like for them, it's just information they're taking in. So like, if I said the wrong thing, they don't necessarily know what I was intending to say. It's worse though if I say something that's like genuinely bad, and I have never done that in pitch. I've done it with current clients because we're not supposed to have competitive clients, but sometimes you have like a little bit of bleed over between what they are. Bigger companies seem to have more of that, like a PepsiCo. Yeah, I mean, like let's say I was at lunch with our Bacardi client, and I'm a tequila drinker, and I was like, "Oh, I'll have a Casa Noble on the rocks." Like that'd be bad because they own Patron and Constellation Brands, big competitor, right? Owns Casa Noble, so like that would be horrendous. Let alone taking them to a like, what if I took them to a bar though that just didn't have Bacardi at it? Oh, that'd be even worse. So we have to do like. If you're taking that client to a lunch or PepsiCo, if they're not a Pepsi pour, we're not taking clients there.
A lot of research.
Yes.
Do you do all of the research or do somebody else do the research?
I mean, research is a full-time job for some, but for lots of people, it's like almost a division, if you will, like does just research. Call it, some of it's just, we call it just research. Some of it's competitive research or planning research, data and analytics research. Like it's, like I said, we're the math side. It's very, very much like a ton of technical nature to it.
So Macy should be very happy that she only has to deal with the two of us and the clients that we had.
And not 1,800 people that
And
are
that
above.
researching which bars do or don't carry certain things.
I need
and what
to-
clothes she should or should not be wearing every single day that might upset somebody or
Not gonna lie, I'm very grateful for my job. 'Cause I already know that like if I ever like do get another job, like I will be like, oh my God, like those were the best years of my life. Like I peaked then. This is my peak.
Peaks and valleys, kid. Peaks and valleys.
we met a long time ago when we were babies, when Lucas had hair.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
did.
God.
I did.
Yeah.
Like a full head or was it like receding a little bit?
It was yeah, like a full head that was starting to go.
Could you grow your hair out at all right now or no? Are you done so?
Done so.
At that time, when you met me, did I have multiple jobs? I can't remember. It was so long ago.
No,
I think I was only solely at the salon.
you were solely at the salon at that point.
And I was at my last salon. I wasn't even at,
Correct.
yes. I was at OG salon.
Was that what?
Was that, yeah.
Mark Allen. What a weird place. But that was my first like experience with like someone who works at a salon.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like what's funny is like when I had hair, I always had like cool hair.
What?
Yeah,
Explain.
like I would have like I would have it dyed like crazy colors.
It's so silly.
Like I remember having like black and white, like the color white hair.
Yeah.
And it was like spiky everywhere. Or I had like super long hair. Or I shaved my head obviously.
Wow.
Yeah, but I had like hair down to my shoulders, chew on it,
Gross.
But my first experience with someone who works at a salon was you. But like I said, because I had those things, I also went to a salon in college, so I had a inkling, but it was
You would like
nothing.
dipped your toes, kind of.
I like thought maybe I knew just from sitting in that chair like once a month and having a 30-minute haircut that I kind of knew. I didn't know.
You didn't know what salon culture was at that point.
Well, I had always assumed it was similar to barbershop culture where it was like sit around and talk. So that part of it, I was like, okay. Yeah. I mean, like that part of it I was familiar with, but maybe like the length of time that you just have someone sitting in that chair, sitting with you for the day. It's like, I wouldn't want to hang out with my client for 3 hours. Not a
But
fucking
they do it like
chance.
multiple times a day with multiple different people.
Yeah. Like I think about that the most, I think of like, I would hate doing that. No offense to all the clients that listen to this.
Two at one, like they have two people going at once. So it's like you're spending time with two people for 3 hours and you're having to juggle the conversation.
Yeah.
It's like
It's,
the same.
It also,
Like
I should say,
client dinner.
it depends on, it's not that, because I was gonna say it depends on the scenario. Like a client dinner is different. If I was like working, spending 3 hours straight with a client, that would be a different experience. And they would feel the same way, probably worse because they don't have as much time as we have. All we do is support them and they have more than just doing what we do. So yeah, I knew salon culture. I guess I just didn't know, like, I don't know. I felt like I knew it meant to be a stylist. I didn't know like color was a thing that like not everybody did. I just assumed everyone could do it. Exhibit A, like all the coloring I did to my hair. Tiffany, that was the name of that stylist. Tiffany. Only
Makes sense.
20 something years ago.
Sounds like that checks out.
Mhm.
That was in Champaign, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
What surprised you most about when we started dating and you would come to the salon? Like to pick me up or to do anything?
Some of it was like, I don't know which is more surprising. One was just like the amount of like inserting to our conversation came from people who were working there. Like I knew them or gave a shit about what the fuck they had to say. But good Lord, did I want to be like, shut the fuck up. I don't know you. I'm having a conversation with this girl I'm dating. But I didn't know like that was just normal. Like that's what you guys.
If you're talking in this room and like there's people having separate conversation at any point, there's a very, very high chance that they're going to join your conversation.
But also like put like I would imagine and bet dollars to donuts, which is a phrase, young lady, that, which now donuts are more expensive than $1. So that'd be a bad bet. But yeah, for a man to come into a salon and expect the same experience of a barbershop, that's like the different part. Cause yes, at the barbershop, it's like the whole place is one big conversation. And it's very much like you're on the same level of the way you can talk to each other. But if a man comes into a salon like I did and I have these like women like yapping at me
And having
talking shit.
vulnerable conversations
Yeah,
about
like,
life.
oh, you're dating Alysia, like you're like new guy around, like
Digging on it.
just like involved.
They'll dig into your.
They're not talking about the Bulls game and the beef they had down the street.
They were very like, what was funny about that scenario was there was like one girl who was from the South Side, so she was very intrigued by that. Then there was like, I had friends who worked the front desk, so they were also very intrigued. It was very multi-generational. There was a lot of different ages that were at that salon, so they were all very invested differently. Like it was like my friend groups, then it was like people that were like, I would say like mother bearing you, that it was like, so I'm sure that was a lot to do with it.
There's a certain someone that is in my brain burned into it, and you know who she is, and she would like mama bear it, and I'd be like, lady, you're fucking cutting hair. Don't give me this shit right now. Like stay over there. Like don't cut off that person's ear. And then we'd like go out to drinks and that person would also be there and be like, if you hurt her, it's like, what are you going to fucking do? Post about me on Facebook? You do shit. Like, what are you talking about? Like, but they would like try and be like threatening and it's like, get the fuck out of here.
If you heard her threat,
Yes.
it's actually going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it was like that.
Exactly.
It's like we've been through our ups and downs. No,
Like that young stage of like dating and we were younger at that time. So it was like I don't know, it was that salon had.
That is my point. I wasn't younger. I was working a full-time adult job after I graduated from a college. Like being talked to like that and like, what?
It was a weird. It
Like
was,
I have,
put yourself in Macy's shoes.
I was gonna say it's literally Macy's like shoes.
Yeah.
Like with the amount of clients who grandma, if her boyfriend walked in right now, they would be like, sit down. We have a lot to talk about. And he'd be like, I don't fucking know any of
He's like,
exactly.
I don't
feel safe in this conversation.
And now it's not just the stylists, it's the clients that would be doing it.
Oh yeah, it is. No, the clients are just as invested in my relationship as Alicia and Nora. Yeah. Like the other day, Bella said to me, she was like, "So did you didn't like break up or something?" And she's like, I was like, "No, why?" And she's like, "You just like haven't talked about him a lot recently." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I needed to come in and just spill my guts every single day about what's going on with me and my boyfriend."
It's definitely clearly like a culture like of our work environments.
Oh, it's like, and then I think the most funny part too is like just like because you guys are certified yappers, just like the amount of times that you guys have to retell a story in a day, weeks, months, years span. Oh my god, like if I have heard Alicia retell a story like once, I have heard her retell it probably 1,000 times. And like that is not exaggerating.
The best thing about that is by the time Alicia said it 50 times, she's finally over it by then.
You know what's funny about that is I guess I am somebody who has to work through my problems.
She does it out loud.
Here is very therapeutic for me because I do have to retell it 60 times. But by that 60th time, I'm like, we've moved on.
And it's not even because like you just want to tell people, like people like just ask you the same question every time, but it's also hilarious to see how you retell it the exact same fucking way every single time. I'm like, oh, she's gonna laugh at this moment. There she is. Thank you.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I would be a great person if I ever needed to be interviewed for police or things like that because my story would never change.
We got to be able to tell it in reverse for it to be the truth.
Well, it would be because I've told it so many times. I'm ready.
She could do it.
Just saying.
If you go through it, you grow through it.
Like if you tell someone a story, if you can't tell it like in the right order on the way back, you're lying. You're lying. Because if you actually did it and experienced it, you would know exactly like how your day unfolded.
I know how I experienced it, but I am quite literally the worst possible storyteller in the world, especially because the ADHD just goes off. So then I go on like an hour-long tangent on something that doesn't even matter. It's not related to the story at all whatsoever. And then I forget what I'm even talking about. Yeah, I can never finish a story. It's quite awful.
You got to learn the hero's journey and just stick to that. It's a good format.
I feel like you should tell us like one good story of either your job or like something about the salon.
I have one that can cover both. You know how there was like a horrible year for the entire country a few years ago, 2020. That year, like everything shut down. These two were in the like moving the business from one location to another with a little bit of overlap. And it was like, guess what? Shut it down. And I remember sitting in my office and someone was like, and this was like April 3rd, right? It was like 2 weeks after it really got kind of like hot. And I remember being like, this is nothing. Like, we are fine. This is the bird flu all over again. And it was like wild that Google had announced they were keeping people out of the office until May 15th. And it was April 2nd or 3rd. So like that was like 6 weeks. Oh my God, that'll never happen. And there we were like a year working from home remotely. And so Alicia also like wasn't working and I was home working. So like it really became like an instantly different dynamic that we had to like kind of flex to. And then that summer became like a massive pitch. And it was in Utah. Yeah. In a city about an hour north of Salt Lake that houses Utah State. And there's a huge like athletic there's a huge athletic company there. And I won't like go like beyond that because I don't want to be like completely rude here. But we were pitching it. And so like, that's what I actually bought these pants for. It was for that pitch. I just realized it. When we were pitching it was like, okay, Luke's got to go back on the road, like back and forth to Utah. And it was horrible. Like going back and forth to Utah. It's a long flight and it's also Utah. And we had to like pitch these guys and they were a family business, but like billionaires. They owned a mountain and took a helicopter to work. Like, yeah. And they were a family company. Only the boys worked there. They were all in C-suite positions, but like 22 years old. Dad was CEO, chairman, founder. And you were like, this is bizarre. These people are bizarre. And the whole experience was insane. And then 6 months later, after we've won the business and transitioned it, they get taken over by their private equity investors and the family gets kicked out.
How long do they have the family business for?
They still technically have it because they own all the shares, but they just can't operate the business. Yeah. So being gone like that, and then it being 2020 and Alicia being home, and then we had our old dog Tonka, who got like sicker and sicker and sicker, and then we had to like let him go. But it was the day I got home from that pitch. That night, coming back from Utah, I took the last flight to Chicago after the pitch, and I got home at probably like 2 a.m. And I remember seeing him on the chair, and he was like really bad. And then I woke up probably 4 or 5 hours later with Alicia, and she's like, the vet will be here at 10. So like that year, like I think it's ingrained into a lot of people's minds for like the pandemic. For me though, it's like the change in the way our relationship and our household operated, the experience of that horrendous pitch, like losing my dog, helping these two like physically build this space and unbuild that space. Like it was just like a very busy year for us. And yeah, like that 2020 is like a life-changing year for us for so many reasons.
Did you ever see me as a business owner? Like when we started dating, it wasn't something I ever talked about doing.
I think
I'm going to chime in as her other partner in life. I always thought Alicia could open her own salon from day one.
I didn't.
Now your turn.
I had no idea. This is I'm talking about like, I don't know what actually goes on during a salon. Like as far as like owning one went, I had no idea what that meant, how you did it. And like, I guess hindsight's 2020, but it's like, of course you own a salon the way you own a salon, right? Like you know this business, you were in it, like, and therefore like eventually you understand like the ins and outs of it because it is so specific of what you're doing. So like the education you get of like what it takes to do the job and then run the business kind of comes hand in hand. So I won't say like I saw you owning a business. I just never thought about it because in my brain it was like people like old man Larry, like, or that one psycho woman at the other place who like owned the place. Like they're like, you know, they're just in a different era of their lives. Whereas these two, so young that I just didn't see it like that way. I didn't think it was something you could do as early as you did. And I'm very proud of that. I tell people all the time, my wife owns a salon, and then I go, I know, but I'm bald. Like it just like because if I don't say it, they're going to say it. And then they're going to like instantly feel weird about saying it. And I'm like, I'll just say it first from now on. Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. But I say it all the time. I tell clients all the time. I tell partners, platforms, like all the time.
What a pleasure being around this successful couple right here. I want to just throw in a little insert when I finally got to be involved in their little togetherness. I think you were driving a Subaru or something like that.
You drove a Subaru?
A Saab?
Pontiac? No, Saturn.
A blue car. A Saturn.
Saturn.
And you guys were living in the city together. And this guy, he would like send her flowers regularly. It was downright upsetting.
It was the sweetest thing ever. He would send it regularly to the salon.
White lilies.
No, not always.
Aiden, if you're listening, take fucking notes.
No, he would send really obnoxiously large.
I did it exclusively because I knew it was obnoxious and I knew it pissed off the other girls.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say exclusively, but like it became the reason.
Yeah. They would be like, well, what's it for now? Read the card.
He loves us.
Because I would always send it to the salon. I could have sent it to home. I could have sent it to I could have like brought him home, but I didn't. I sent it to the salon.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Powerful.
They were always
Powerful.
very nice.
You want to talk shit when I'm sitting in that chair? Fuck y'all.
No.
I will bury you.
Bury you in roses.
No, this is exclusively like a mind game and I will win it.
Right?
And I did.
For
Exhibit A, Nora.
It's a long game. Like real.
I loved it for her. That was very uplifting. A nice little validation of love.
Yeah.
Bill, we knew you weren't going to send the flowers. It's okay. I already know who you are. And I did get flowers one time at the salon. I got so excited. I thought, Bill finally sent me flowers. It's my birthday. It's the day after Valentine's Day. From my sister.
I was going to say, they weren't for Bill. I remember that. They were not.
I would have been so fucking pissed. I'm like, these.
You know, we got to know who we're with, our partners. You know, they are who they are.
Yes. They have their own.
What's Bill's love language? Does Bill have a love language?
I'm trying to think. What is Bill's love language?
Goofing off with you. That's his.
He's a goof.
Quality time.
Putting him in his place and then have him like goof off.
Probably would consider
Yeah.
quality time then.
I would say quality time for sure.
Yeah.
He's got us going to this fucking lake this weekend. I'm like, I don't have time to go to another lake. We're going to a lake in 2 weeks from now.
I wish I had that problem.
Quality time.
Bill loves that.
I'll take your spot.
Does.
He is a lake. He's a lake guy.
You know what? I'm trying for it. For us as a team, we all need a place to go.
Where's the lake house?
Daddyville, maybe
Daddyville.
Syracuse, Indiana, maybe.
I want river property. I want to be a river person.
Of course you do.
Wait, but so you'd want to be on a river and not a lake?
Uh-huh.
I feel like he wants to be on like
You want
river.
a kayak? Are you like a kayaker and like paddleboard and shit like that?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Like it would have to be like a running river. Like I don't want like I mean if it's big, I don't want
Do you want to be
I don't want to live on the Kankakee River.
swimming? That's all that matters.
We're gonna need to get him to Tennessee, Kentucky,
Yeah.
Colorado.
It's like a big river.
Yeah, I mean like it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be long, right? It has to be coming from somewhere. Like I want to be able to fish in it. And it's beautiful. And you can bathe in it and like get cooled off in it and like jump in it like in the winter because it's always flowing because it flows so fast it doesn't freeze. Like there's waterfalls in the Antarctic.
You got to put in hours for that though. Lake life is about driving a short period of time to get to relax. River gorge life is more about maybe putting in 4 to 6.
Well, it depends on where you live. It's home base.
Yeah.
I feel like in true, we're Lamberts here. There's a lot of Lamberts here. And there's a book from a Lambert that I'm staring at that I was gifted about forgiveness. So I feel like it's only fitting that while I have my lovely, lovely husband sitting across from me, we read about forgiveness that his mother gave us. Because I feel like that's the only way to really take us home. I found a really good passage today in this one. And it says, looking back, I realized that there were situations, seasons, and suffering in my life that I was never meant to figure out or fight. I was meant to learn and grow wiser, stronger, and better from them.
I mean,
That's
who knew?
That's good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I try to find some are rough. And I try to not read those ones that are wild.
Well, it's like my daily Stoic book. Like sometimes I read them and I'm like, well, that's not helpful.
I read quite a few, and I felt like that one really
That was great.
summed up the best of like the story Luke told about 2020 really being a changing year, and that sometimes you don't really get to pick what changes you as a
Mhm.
couple, as people.
Yeah.
So I felt like that really summed it up the best.
Lovely.
It was a good one. So I guess I don't want to say thank you.
Well,
Well, guys,
Finish up your beverage.
he's been begging to come on here for like months.
He might have acted like he didn't really want to be here with us, but
He did.
When did I pretend that?
you pretend like you don't want to be here with anybody ever all the time.
That's pretty standard. No, it's like similar to sending flowers. Like this is still like a mind game over the people who listen to this. How many people want to be on this?
He's AIing us right
A
now.
lot, exactly. So all those people who haven't been on yet, I beat you. I beat you.
I beat you, fucker.
It's not enough to come in first. They have to lose.
No, you would have.
This sums Luke up so much.
He's playing the end game.
please finish up your drinks. Take your product if you got some. We'll see you at your next appointment. Have a great, great, great week.
Don't forget about the clips.
What a Halloween theme. Oh, and cats.
Oh yeah, they are. And shells. All right, bye.
Last word.
What a dick.
It's Nora, Alicia, and Macy.
We are a girly podcast and we are on the floor.
Did I go the wrong way?
You definitely